everyone. You're very welcome to our Meet the Students webinar this afternoon. I'm just going to give it a few more seconds really and let a few more attendees join in. I hope everyone enjoyed all of our talks before now. As well, even go over to our social media, ManU CAO, for the rest of kind of the day and have a look back on some of the takeovers from our student ambassadors for the day. We have a selection of student ambassadors here now, but we also had even more student ambassadors taking over our social media channels, Instagram and Snapchat really, and just letting you know what it's like to be a student at ManU University. So my name is Deirdre Ní Chearúil and I work here at the admissions office at ManU University, and I'm joined by our lovely students today. So what we're going to do is we're going to chat to everyone and get a kind of better understanding, hear about these students' perspective and what it's like to study be a student at ManU University. So I'm going to kick it off. So first we have Claudia, we have Maya, we have Karina, and we have Vinayak. So this is how everyone is on my screen. But I'm aware that everyone might be different on everyone else's screen. So what we might do is, I'm going to go around and teach about students and just give a little introduction about you, you know, where you're from, what school you went to, and your entry route into ManU, and I guess just your course. Is that okay? Woo. Okay, so Claudia, do you want to kick it off?
So, hello everyone. My name is Claudia. I'm a final year student here at ManU doing biology and chemistry through general science, so the MH201 course. And I went to school in St. Oliver's Post Primary School in Oldcastle County. And the way I came into ManU was through the CA.
Oh, amazing. Thank you, Claudia. And Maya, what about you?
My name is Meha. I'm studying biotechnology. I went to Holy Family, and then after secondary school, I did a PLC too at Pierce College in Crumlin.
Amazing. And Karina?
Hi, my name is Karina. I'm doing the MH101 Arts degree with a double major in International Development and European Studies, but European Studies is not available anymore. And I guess I'm an international student from Germany, but I do my full degree in Ireland, and I also applied through the CAO.
Lovely, thank you, Karina. And Vinayak?
Hi everyone, my name is Vinayak. I'm a fourth year electronic engineering student. I'm from Ratoath, and my secondary level education was done at Ratoath College, and I also applied through CAA.
Lovely, thank you so much. So I guess everyone who's watching today or watching the recording of this is probably deciding on what university they want to go to, and they're probably very conflicted. I want to know why. I'm going to go into everyone because I want to actually hear what everyone thinks about this. Why did you choose ManU University? You know, you had a big selection of loads of different universities and you chose ManU. So why was that? Maya, do you want to kick it off?
So Maynooth was actually one of the few universities near Dublin that offered biotechnology as a BSc degree. I specifically wanted the one in Maynooth because it offered a wide selection of electives that you could do in second year. There's also a placement option in fourth year, which was like something I was really looking forward to, is like doing placement. Yeah, I also love the campus when I went to the open day at Maynooth. All the professors, they're so passionate about their degrees and they're so inspiring, and everyone was just super friendly. The what's it called, the sleeping pods in the library, those sold me.
No way, really? And did you ever use them?
No, actually, I'm still trying to figure out where it is because it's this year I started to come on campus.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I remember they were on the not the ground for the first floor over kind of towards the old part. I don't know if they're still exactly there, but that's where I remember them. If anyone's not sure what May is talking about, there are sleep pods in the library where you can go and have a little nap. And I think it originally came from an idea from a student for kind of a competition. And now they're in the library and they were loaned out to Tala Hospital during the pandemic as well. So that's a little feel-good story. Claudia, why did you choose Maynooth?
So when I was in sixth year, I knew that I wanted to study science, but I actually didn't know what route I wanted to take to get there. So I started going to different open days across, well, closer to Dublin than anything else. And Maynooth was the one that stood out the most to me because I actually walked into one of the science buildings on the day of the open day, and I was talking to some of the current students, and I was saying to them how I really wanted to study science, but I didn't know if I wanted to do biology or chemistry because those were my subjects in school. And they were saying that you can actually do both. And that's kind of the thing that sold me about Maynooth, because it gave me a chance to test a lot of subjects in first year, and then from that I then made up my mind and I knew that I wanted to do biology and chemistry.
Wow, because yeah, you kind of start off in the MH201 degrees and it's four subject. You kind of narrow down as you go on through the years. But that's interesting that you knew even before going in that it was biology and chemistry that you were going towards.
Yeah, they were my favorites. They were my favorite subjects in school. So I always knew it was going to be either a one or the other one. But when I came here and I knew I could do both, I was like, yeah, that's it.
Amazing. And Vinayak, what about you?
There's two reasons why I chose Maynooth to do engineering. Number one being that comparing it to different universities in Ireland, Maynooth basically offers practical work and theory level work at a 50-50 probability. So for some other universities, which I won't name, but like they more prioritize on theory work than practical work. And I kind of see that as being an unfair thing because at the end of the day, when engineers come out of their degree, they need to be able to be experienced enough to do the work in their graduate role or their internship. And also Maynooth has close connections with Intel in Leixlip. So if you're doing an engineering degree or a STEM degree, you have a really great chance of getting an internship or a graduate role, which I found to be really great. So they also offer scholarships and different kinds of work placements. So those were the two things, and I just think that it's really great to have those options, you know.
Yeah, they're really sensible and very clever ways to decide. You'd really thought it through, and that bit about Intel with your electronic engineering, so important, and it is a really big factor that obviously will help you, once you graduate as well. Karina, I guess you're next. Why did you choose Maynooth?
So, as someone who couldn't attend any open days in person, I had to rely on pictures. And when I saw the pictures of Maynooth University, I was almost sold already. I mean, the South Campus is absolutely stunning with the old buildings and all the colorful leaves in the autumn, and obviously the more modern buildings on the North Campus. But I think the most important reason to choose a university is the degree, and the arts degree is perfect for someone that's a little bit indecisive. So in first year, you can choose 4 different subjects, and then you can continue on with those that you really like. And that's the main reason I chose Maynooth. And I think we have a very good variety of subjects to choose in the arts degree. Yeah, certainly some very niche ones like music technology. So if that's something that someone is interested in, and yeah.
And Karina, so you're studying international development and
And European studies.
European studies, sorry, yeah. And what other subjects did you study in first year? Just out of curiosity.
I did law in first year.
Ah.
I was interested in law, but now as someone that doesn't want to pursue law in Ireland, I was like, maybe not law, but now I have law through European studies. Again, it's not available anymore, but if someone is interested in EU law, that's still part of the law degree. So yeah.
And there's really good progression. I guess you probably kept into consideration the progression opportunities if you were interested in law, that there is options to transfer into specialised degrees such as the BCL and the LLB in second year. I guess just chatting about degrees, and Karina gave us a great explanation of the arts degree there. Meha, do you want to tell us a little bit about the biotechnology course? And what it's like to be a student on the biotechnology course, like your timetable, how many hours you're on campus, that kind of bit.
Yeah, so biotechnology, it's all about using living things or parts of living things to create products. And there's like a wide range of products you can create. That's why it's such a diverse subject. So it can be divided down into colors. So red is more human health. So it's like producing vaccines, um, antibiotics, insulin, all that. Then there's like the yellow side, which is more nutrition and food. Green for agriculture, we have industrial biotechnology, environmental biotechnology. So it's really, really broad. There's more. First year, you'd be doing like subjects like biology, chemistry, maths, physics. Then second year would be more biotechnology, chemistry, and then you can choose between maths or physics. And then if you want, you can do an elective. In third year, it's biochemistry and biotechnology, sorry, and chemistry. And then your final year, it's just pure biotechnology with placement. A typical day would have lectures, tutorials, which are like smaller classes. It'd be like a max of 30 students. And then you'd have labs every week. Yeah.
Lovely. That's a really good explanation of the biotechnology course. Thank you so much for that, Maya. What about electronic engineering, Vinayak?
So electronic engineering, it's really a vast number of things you could be doing. So you could be working on programming, or you could be working on hardware or system design. And really, when you're in first year, you get to go through a wide range of subjects. So you get to learn about physics, you get to learn about a little bit about chemistry, maths, of course, and then some specialized programming courses as well. But when you go into first year, it's really important that everybody knows that you don't have to be an expert at maths or physics or anything like that. Your lecturers will go in with the notion that you are a beginner, and they'll always take it as if you're a beginner. So I just remember a lot of people thinking, oh, do I need to be really, really good at maths or just to do engineering? But everyone is going to be on the same page as you. So whether you've done physics at sixth year in secondary level, or if you didn't, you'll still be on the same level. So you're always going to be treated as a beginner, and then that's how you progress upwards.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Vinayak. And Claudia, tell us a little bit about MH201 General Science entry route. Oh, you're just on mute.
Sorry. So as I said earlier on, when you come in into MH201, you get to sample a few different subjects in first year, and the ones I decided to do were biology, chemistry, well, math is compulsory, and experimental physics. So my day-to-day, it does differ in what, like, depending on what year you're in. So in first year, it's very subject based, and you have a lot of labs as well. So if you're doing 3 actual science subjects, you have 3 weekly labs to go to, and then depending on what subjects you decide to progress with for your 4 years, that does change. For example, for me in 4th year right now, I actually only have 3 days of lectures, and I have two modules for biology and 2 modules for chemistry. But on Wednesdays and Fridays, when I don't have any lectures, I'm actually all day in the lab working on my research project for my final year. So it does really depend on what year you're in, that your timetable kind of varies a lot.
Wow. And I can just see we actually have a quick question. Thanks, Claudia. We have a question here. Do you all have classes every day, or do you have any time with no classes? Claudia?
So as I said earlier on, I have this year I have Monday, Tuesday, and on Thursdays I have classes. But when Wednesdays and Fridays I'm off, but I'm not really off because I'm in the lab. So if lecture wise, I have three days on, and lab wise I have 2 days on. But again, that really varies, because in second year, for example, I had no lectures on a Thursday and no labs on a Thursday, so I had the day completely off. But it really does depend on the subjects you do.
Amazing. Thank you, Claudia. Karina, what about in the arts degree? And I guess actually just on that is important to mention that there's a lot of independent study as well. Just because you don't have something written down on a timetable in university, there's a lot of I guess, time expected of you to do your own independent research, your own kind of catching up, your own study time that you really need to do. Karina, what about you? Do you want to take that one as well?
Yeah, so I have lectures on 4 days of the week, and I have one day off, similar to other people that do arts degrees. But because you can pick and choose your modules, it can be that you have lectures on every day, like lectures on every day of the week, but maybe only like 1 or 2 lectures. So yeah, I have one day off, and most of my friends too. Same with first year, I had a day off in first year. But I know a lot of people that didn't have any days off in first year. It just depends on your modules and how they're spaced out, but it doesn't mean that you have more or less just because you don't have a free day. I guess that's important to say.
And it's kind of interesting as well, and I know this for arts anyway, that when you get your timetable, you're given your lecture timetable, and then you need to sign up for your own tutorials. So then you kind of start controlling, and then maybe it's the same. Is it the same, Vinayak and Claudia and Maya, for you, that you kind of start controlling a bit of your timetable because you might be given three options and you have to pick one. So it might clash with a lecture one of the times, another lecture, or you might decide, okay, on a Thursday that would suit me to have that class that morning. In terms of my own kind of schedule, and if I was commuting out, or if I had something on in that morning or something like that. Vinayak, what about electronic engineering? What's yours like?
Yeah, I mean, as more as I've progressed over the years, I think I've had more control over my timetable. I kind of at this point I know what I would need to sort of go in for or not. So because I'm in final year, I have a lot of sort of preference to work on my final year project because that's very important. But then some of my lectures are, they're handled online, and then I'll also have to come in for maybe tutorial. So really, it's just trying to see what's more important. But at the end of the day, I still need to manage everything. So for like the online lectures could be recorded as well. So for example, if I need to work on something else, but I still need to, take notes for that lecture, it'll be recorded and I can go back and have a look over it. So at the moment, managing my own time has been pretty good. And yeah, and then I just have to keep doing it for the second semester. And yeah,
Yeah, keep on top of it. You're almost there. You got it. No,
yeah.
thanks, guys. And I guess I'm really, if anyone does actually have any more questions, please feel free to put them into the Q&A, which one has just come in. Uh, Claudia, do you have any experience with electives?
So in second year, you get to choose electives, but I decided not to because that would have meant I would get rid of one of my core subjects. And I knew that I wanted to progress with biology and chemistry, and I needed maths as well because I dropped experimental physics after first year. Um, so I don't actually have any experience with electives.
Okay, no, that's interesting. Thanks so much. And I hope that answered the question. I actually was wondering, how does everyone get to Maynooth? Who lives on campus? Who commutes? Okay, who lives on campus? Claudia, Karina. So you're both in student accommodation, and you were lucky you went through I guess you queued up for your time slot, and you looked for accommodation. You're successful. Vinayak and Meha, then, are you both commuters? Vinayak, maybe, or Meha actually, because I was chatting to Vinayak. We'll go with Meha and then Vinayak. Tell me a little bit about your commute and how do you get to Maynooth University, because I am aware that there's loads of transport routes. We have a lot of buses and we have trains in Maynooth as well. And also people kind of car share. It's not very difficult to get out to Maynooth. So Meha, maybe you want to kick off and tell us how you get to Maynooth every day you're in university.
So I live in South Dublin, so I have to get to Lewis to get to the city, to Houston. And then from the city, there's like 3 buses you can use. You can use the 115 or 66 or 67, because they will all lead you to Maynooth. And I take whatever I see first. So they all come within like 30 minutes interval. So if one bus doesn't come, like there's another one available. So I take the lowest on buses to get to Maynooth.
Cool. That's great. Thank you so much. And Vinayak?
In first, second, and third year, the majority of those years, I was taking the private bus. So Maynooth offers private buses from almost every county in Ireland. And essentially what happens is the private bus comes twice a day, up to Maynooth, and then twice a day back down to the other places. So I was doing that for almost every day of first, second, and third year, and then for my final year at the moment, I just drive to Maynooth because it takes me roughly 20 minutes by car, and also Maynooth offers student parking as well. Parking is really just accessible in both campuses, and yeah, so I do my driving.
And how much is a parking permit, Vinayak?
So if you want, so a student parking permit is 40 euros, and that's accessible throughout all year. So as soon as you have your permit, you can park in, I think at the moment for students, there's 3 parking places, and you can just sort of choose whichever one you want. And
yeah, there's a map there as well on the website. If you just look up parking Maynooth University, and you can find the map and see where all the parking spaces are. And that there is a pay and display too, if anyone does decide to go and visit Maynooth one day or something, just so that you know that. I want to know about clubs and societies. Anyone involved with clubs and socks? Vinayak is. You tell us a little bit about your experience. Will you please tell us a bit about your experience with societies?
yeah, so for my second year of, sorry, actually, I should start from my first year. So as soon as I came into first year, I just noticed that Maynooth University didn't have an Indian society, or it did, but it was just kind of fell apart. And no one was sort of coming back to, bring it back up. So what I did was I took a bunch of my friends and said, let's do it together. So we rebuilt it, and it was a lot of work at the start because you have to, deal stuff with events and the bank and different things like that. But that was for second year, and we were sort of starting to get going and starting to be known for our events. And then in third year, unfortunately, when the pandemic came around, we had to move our events to an online format. But even at that point, I think our growth was phenomenal because we were doing a lot of events with other universities in Ireland. And also we did 2 events with the University of Plymouth and also University of Essex in the UK.
Wow.
Yeah, so uh, basically for the second year and for the third year, the growth was just going up and up and up and up. And yeah, so I definitely think that if you're in Maynooth University, you should join as a member, or even if you want to create your own one, absolutely do it. I think it's a wonderful experience.
Amazing, thank you. And there's just a few questions that have come in, so I'm going to take them. I guess the first one we'll take for now. So it is very difficult to commute. Is it very difficult to commute to and from the university? Like, does it affect the student life in regards to work and in regards to social life? This particular person would have to take a 1 hour and 40-minute commute to Maynooth if they were to come to Maynooth. So they're curious as to your experience.
So if I was to commute through normal bus, through bus Erin, it would take me 2 hours. So I've experienced this for most of first year, and I just think that even though it's you're commuting for 2 hours, let's say, um, yeah, it's tricky to manage your time, but I do think that it's still possible because there are a lot of other students as well that, like, let's say if you're coming from Swords, or it would still take 2 hours. You need to take a bus and then a train. So it's still doable and they are managing their time. But I just think that if you don't want to take that route, look for something else, look for a private bus or look for another option that would reduce your duration. But I wouldn't say that it's too bad. I just still think that you can manage your time in your own way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's really solid advice. Really, really solid. Thanks so much, Vinayak. There's a question here. How do you find the possible job slash study slash social aspects balancing while at Maynooth? Like these students are all our student ambassadors. Does anyone have any other roles? Is there anyone else or anyone in particular who'd like to take that question?
I work
Okay,
as a student ambassador, but I also work with the Clubs and Socks office. So I run their Instagram account. So that is, for me, it's a good way to make a bit of money extra. So I can, it's not too hard because I kind of make my own hours. So whenever I want to take on something, I kind of just do it. So if I'd say like I want to work 7 hours one week or I want to work 10 hours another week, I can do that. So if I were to come into Maynooth in first year, I would try to look for them opportunities. I know that to become a student ambassador, I applied through the website, through Maynooth website. So maybe keep an eye on that because it was very, very helpful for me. But yeah, just keep an eye on that, and if you hear of anything, just try to join up.
Yeah, that's great advice. Thank you so much, Claudia. Now I want to know your favorite part of like campus or student support. What's your kind of what's your standout piece about Maynooth University? Karina, I might ask you first if that's okay.
I guess what's nice is that everything is so close together. So you can be from one to the other lecture hall so quickly. And I guess I really like the sports facilities. I think currently they're building a new gym, but even the gym now is more than enough in my opinion. And yeah, it's just a great balance between college and a little bit of physical activity, especially either early in the mornings or late at night. Yeah, what do I like the most? I really like the library.
Yeah, the library's cool. It's behind me.
Yes.
Like
Yeah, it's if you get a good spot in the library, you can just watch the people walk past the library. Yeah, and I really like the fact that I don't have to study alone in my room, but it's just a very nice atmosphere to study in.
yeah, that's nice. What about you, Maya?
Probably the math support center because like I hate math since secondary school, but I started loving maths when I started coming to university. It was so weird.
Oh,
Yeah, the math support center. It's not only is it free, it's super informal. You can ask the most ridiculous questions and they're not going to judge you for it, which is great. They're super friendly, super helpful, and they're actually on. You can get help online through Microsoft Teams if you're super introverted to actually go in, or if you want like in-person help, it's available on like the ground floor of the library.
wow, that's interesting. I didn't know you could do that through Teams.
Yeah, you can.
Wow, that's great. I've heard great, like students really utilize the Math Support Centre. I've heard great things about it. Thank you so much for that. Claudia, what about you?
My favorite thing about campus is probably literally getting a coffee on a Saturday morning and just walking around South Campus is probably one of my favorite things to do at the weekends. It's so nice, especially when it's kind of sunny and this time of the year when there's like the brown leaves everywhere and it's just so pretty. But I also, as a science student, I spent a lot of time in the science buildings. So both the chemistry and the Callan building, which is the biology department, where the biology department is located. I think we have great facilities. We have awesome labs, and yeah, we're very, very lucky here in Maynooth. But yeah, we also have study spaces there. So it's great if you come out of a lecture and you want to sit down for a while and just get some work done, and you don't have to go all the way to the library if you don't want to. So in between lectures, you can get a bit of work done. So yeah, I really like that. The facilities we have on campus are great.
Thank you. And Vinayak?
Yeah, I mean, I think the most favorite part of campus is probably the gym for me because yeah, I just like fitness, but at the same time, one of the great things about Maynooth is that you don't have to pay to use the gym. It's free. And yeah, as Karina said, they did a massive rebuild of it. So it looks great now, and a lot of people are using it. Um, but yeah, that's one of the things that I like about Mood is that it's free, while other universities they charge you to use the gym. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, the gym is a great facility. There's a question here, and it's if anybody knows originally when choosing courses or writing their CAO application, what was it that you think made you chose Maynooth? I know we've kind of touched on why everyone's chosen Maynooth, but maybe we'll kind of put it back as well on what advice you'd give to someone who's currently filling out their CAO. Um, Claudia, do you want to take that?
So, um, an advice I would probably give is the same one I got. So when I was in school, I looked up to one of my friends that had left the previous year, and because she didn't do why I did, and she was in her first year of college, and I asked her, I was like, how do you make this decision? Because there's so many different courses, there's so many different things that appeal to you. And as I said earlier on, it was actually just going to the open days that really made it for me. It made a big difference, and it kind of just like you realize what you want to do. If you go to a campus and you see the atmosphere and you see the people walking by, and it's a great atmosphere, and they're friendly and they're trying to help. It's just you get a feel of what it would be like to be there as a student. So that's what made me choose Maynooth as well. So I remember when I put it on my CAO, I was like, yeah, that's the one I want to do. And no matter how many open days I went after the one I went to Maynooth, it was like it doesn't feel the same.
Amazing, thank you, Claudia. And Karina, as somebody, I guess, who didn't get the opportunity to visit campus, and a lot of people are like that with the current guidelines coming for, for the open day, we're doing it virtually. What advice would you give?
Um, I think I'm the worst person to ask this question. I literally sent off my application the last day that it was possible, and I guess in the back of my mind, I still had the option to study somewhere else if that's really not what I want to do. But I guess the nice thing with the arts degree, if you choose that as your first option, is that you can study so many different things. So just because you say arts degree doesn't mean you study a specific thing. Like people do all sorts of different courses and degrees now. So you can start with just one law module, and suddenly you have people studying a full law degree, and people do music, they do languages. So if you're unsure, do arts, and then you can still decide. And I think you can switch your subjects up to 4 weeks in first year. So you can literally try something out for 3 weeks and be like, oh God, this is absolutely horrible. What did I do here? And you can switch. And I think there's also a program advisory office, and they're very helpful with deciding what you want to do.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you so much. There's another question here, and I'm going to put it to Maya and Vinayak. So, what would you say to someone who's worried about the transition from school or settling if they do go to Maynooth, and they're just saying that great webinar, everyone, thank you. So, Maya and Vinayak, what would you say to someone who's worried about the transition from school or settling in by going to Maynooth University? Maya, do you want to take it first?
Yeah, so I was part of MAP, the ManU Access program, since I came through the TTY route. So they actually set up a program called TTP, Technological Transition Program, where they would go through how to use Moodle, which is the platform Maynooth uses, and they went through Microsoft Teams, like all the stuff that that Maynooth uses. I think they had a bunch of mental health workshops. They Maynooth will continually give you so much workshops. They will email you so much workshops, like how you should do essays, writing assignments, like tips on that. There's stuff on maths too. How they start from the very beginning of maths to help you out. there's mental health workshop. There's so much workshops, so you can transition in like, okay.
And yeah, that's actually really good key advice. And socially as well, how would you have found it settling in, Maya?
Sorry.
Like socially, how would you have found it settling in as well? Did you make friends on your course?
Yeah, for the first few, for the first year, it was online, so you could only
Oh
see
yeah.
people's names. So like when I actually came on campus, I'm like, oh, you're that person, because go to people's faces. Clubs and societies are great. I was part of the Indian Society in first year, so we actually had online like events, which is really good. So that's a great way of making friends.
Amazing, thank you. And Vinayak, what advice would you give to somebody about settling in?
I remember in first year, when I came to the orientation day, I didn't know anyone, but when you get together with your course with your course people, I kind of just saw someone and I was like, hey, and then but I didn't know that person was in the same course as me, and then I saw everyone that came to that group was in the same course as me. So making friends, I think on the first day was okay for me. Well, obviously it wasn't online; it was in person back then, and then small things like, for example, I just saw like, outside our arts building, there's like two chess tables, and I just saw two people playing chess, and I like chess, so I just went over and I just asked, do you want to have a game? And yeah, and along with that, when you go into your clubs and socks fairs day, there's a lot of people that will have their clubs and socks on stands and everything. So you can go in and you can talk to them, and you can ask them questions about what events you're going to run or what you're going to do. So three main things would be, join a club or society, um, talk to people in your course, and also, I mean, I guess just just go around and yeah, talk to people. Yeah, yeah. Second and third are more or less the same, but
No, that's
yeah.
brilliant. That's key advice. Thank you so much. And just to let everyone know that we only have about 8 minutes left in the webinar. So if there's any burning last kind of questions, please feel free to kind of throw them in there and we'll be able to get back to you. So I guess the next question I really wanted to ask was what do you enjoy most about the course of study that you're studying? I know we've kind of touched on kind of your courses and stuff as well, but I want to like delve in a little bit deeper and see what's your kind of favorite thing and what I guess do you have moments it's like, oh, I love this. Like when you're in secondary school, you kind of have to study across a big variation of kind of subjects. And what is it that you really love about your course now that you're studying? Karina, we start off with you.
Yeah, so for international development, I guess I really like that it's so broad what you learn. You learn about the actors of development. You learn about what are the challenges, like climate change, and learn a little bit about politics and economics. That's the word. And you learn about human rights. You learn about gender and development, which, if you're into human rights and that, I would definitely recommend this, even in combination with law. And we learn about fast fashion, so things that our generation is really interested in. We would learn about social movements like Fridays for Future. You just learn the academic side to all the activism that's going on. And I think that's a very useful degree to have in the future, especially.
Thank you, Karina. That's really interesting. That actually is very interesting. It sounds like I'd love to sit in a few lectures to be enlightened with all this because it's very topical and very relevant. And I guess you study stuff in the classroom that you bring out to the real world, and maybe then you have topical conversations with your friends as well about, and that's so important. And Vinayak, what about you?
Um, when I joined, I really liked programming and coding. And although my degree, the way it works is you only get to do your internship in fourth year. I still wanted to do an internship in third year, so I did one during the summer. And just the way the job market is at the moment is it's mainly focused on software engineering. So, um, apart from what Maynooth teaches you, it's always a good idea to do your own work. So you try to teach yourself some things that maybe Maynooth doesn't, so that you get better experience and you get better knowledge. And because of that, I did my internship in a software engineering company last year, and it was great experience. So always having some sort of industrial experience is really great, because when you come out of your fourth year or your fifth year, you can show employers that, oh yeah, I've done this and I'm just ready to learn more.
And there is a placement office in Maynooth University. You can contact them by email on placement@mu.ie. Or you can email, or actually you can just find them on Instagram. They have an Instagram account. I think it might be Maynooth Uni Placements or something like that. But if you look up Maynooth CAO, you should find them on the followers and following list. Thank you, Vinayak. And Maya, what about you?
Definitely labs for me, because it's cool like when you actually study the theory and then you actually see the whole like theory play out in front of you in person. It's really awesome. I was really nervous actually going to my first lab because I thought I'll screw up everything, but the labs are so chill. I had like one guy that was like that snapped a burette because he tightened the clamp so much, snapped in half. And like yeah, and they were like super chill about it. I thought they'd like, I don't know, get angry or something. They're like, fine, here's another burette. Everyone's so chill. There's like a domino effect one too where all the like beakers just went da, 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 and it's all broke. They're all, you know.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
like it's good to have hands-on experience every week because we have labs every week. That's going to teach you like confidence in the long term. When you know how to use these equipments, you do it every week, it's going to give you confidence when you actually work in a biotech lab in the future.
Amazing. Thank you, Maya. And Claudia, what about you?
So this year when I was choosing what I wanted to do as my final year project for biology, because I do a double major, so I have to do one this semester and then I'll have to do another one next semester. So this semester was biology, and I had to decide if I wanted to do just a research thesis or if I want to do a lab project thesis. And I decided to go with a lab project thesis because I wanted the experience for the future. So I ended up doing my research lab project in the molecular biotechnology lab in Maynooth, and it's been my favorite part about my 4 years of college. It's been great to know what it's actually like to do research in a research lab. It's the thrill you get when you get the results you're expecting, or you like figure something out that's new and no one has done before. You're kind of like, wow, like I did that. And so it's definitely been my favorite part about my 4 years for sure. I'm a very hands-on person, so I really enjoyed it.
That's so cool. That's so lovely. There's two questions coming in. Now, one of them, I don't know if we'll get time to go into it, but I am going to give a solution. So the first one was, sorry if I missed it earlier on, but did everyone here apply through the Leaving Cert, or did anyone have experience in applying from abroad? So Claudia applied from Meath through the CAO, went through secondary school from a Leaving Cert, am I right? Yeah. Maya then applied through QQI course from Dublin. Was your QQI in Dublin, Maya?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Karina was an au pair and applied from Ireland, but she was using her grades from Germany. Yeah, and then Vinayak was from a secondary school, used his Leaving Cert results as well to get into Maynooth University from Meath as well. But you were in school in Dublin actually, weren't you?
Yeah, we're told immediately, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. This is like testing my memory, isn't it? It's like, how much were you actually listening back? There is another question there, and we aren't going to get to it. But what I will say is, I think there's a really good opportunity. We have something called UniBuddy, which is mu.ie/ask-a-student. And there you can chat to Claudia. May, are you an Ask a Student? No, you're not, are you? No, Karina, you're not. You are. And Vinayak Vinayak, are you on? Yeah. And there you can actually chat to the students, and it's almost like it's kind of like an instant messaging kind of a platform where you can chat to the students directly and they'll be able to answer your questions there. So I would say that's the best way for any other questions. So any closing statements from our lovely students? Anyone want to say anything before we finish up?
Good luck.
To say that don't be worried, and I'm sure you'll make the best decision you can, and best of luck with your reading.
Yay! So thank you so much to our lovely students. Thank you, Claudia. Thank you, Maya. Thank you, Karina. And thank you, Vinayak. Honestly, you've been a wealth of information and it's been really lovely chatting to you all this afternoon. So thank you so much. And thank you so much to everyone tuning in. We will have this recorded on the Open Day webpage. Again, if you want to ask our students any questions, it's mu.ie/ask-a-student, and you can always ask us in the admissions office any questions through our social media channels at ManU CAO. So thank you so much. Bye everyone. Thank you.
Bye.